in the scheme of what we do and the style exactly like I'd want to do it. Quite honestly, I like doing it. So I've done it before, both as a coordinator, as a defense coordinator, and as a head coach some. So I just thought that was the best way for us moving forward and something I'm looking forward to.
And do you have a timeline or any kind of frame that you want to finalize these coordinator positions?
No, I didn't put a deadline amongst ourselves due to teams that are still playing. Obviously, that's a factor in it. So there's no deadline that I have now. Just going to be really thorough and what we're looking for, scheme fit, culture fit, everything has got to line up just right.
And also, Wade Harmon publicly said that he has been let go. Are there any other position assistants that have?
From a change standpoint, yeah, that's where we're at. And there may be some adjusting moving on within the staff, but in terms of position changing, but no other changes at this time.
Is there a chance that Raheem Morris can move back to the other side of the ball?
It was something that I thought of, Jeff, and I can recognize for sure why with his background there. But at the end of it, I decided, to stick myself into that role. But that was definitely something that I considered. But when I got back down to the end, I thought I'm pleased with the progress that side of the ball, especially at receivers, making under Ra's leadership. And I thought it was important in the development of where we're at with Cal as well. So that's the decision there.
And then a follow-up to a question you just answered a little while ago.
Okay.
Coaches just lost some jobs. There might be some other changes. How much personal responsibility do both of you guys feel for what basically happened this year? Obviously, there was injuries. You can't.
Yeah, 100%.
But
and
so if you individually could each sort of answer that.
Yeah, the responsibility for it.
Responsibility and decisions maybe that were made or thoughts that you had about certain guys going in or.
Yeah, I'd say I asked each of the players, what's the 2 or 3 moments or games or situations that you could have made a difference, and how would have that changed? And so for me, there must be 50 of them, the lessons that you got to now apply. So I definitely feel that responsibility for when we don't meet the mark as a team. And as a coach, it's one of the parts you don't like in terms of making changes because all the background that's involved with that too. And so definitely feel all the responsibility for that. And it's the last, conversation that you want to have with somebody. Hey, this is a conversation we'd hope we'd never have, but this is where we are today.
Did the number of injuries think guys sustained?
Hold on one second.
Yeah. Obviously, as a co-team builder, there's no question that we're looking at the team, we're looking at the abilities and the depth. I think considering the depth, there were certain people we thought stepped up, and personally there are other people that didn't step up that we thought were going to step up and thrive for us. So I think when it comes to building the team, that's going to always be something that I'm focused on, obviously, as the season goes on. Of course, as much as Dan and I talk about things prior to going into games, of course I'm not having anything to do with game planning, but when we talk about the players and where we're putting players, that is an important part of my world as well. So I take responsibility, of course, for that. I mean, that's a big part of what my job is.
How much sort of do you have to push like a reset button in terms of evaluation, how you look at certain guys, or?
No, interestingly enough, to Dan's conversation with Michael about scheme changes and such, any of the adjustments that we may have, be they small or bigger, it's something that we're going to have to definitely disseminate to our scouting staff to make sure that we are on the ball as far as exactly what we're looking for the type of adjustments we're making in the scheme. So as far as reevaluating how we evaluate things, no. I mean, I feel extremely confident with the scouting staff that we have and the coaching staff as evaluators. We just need to be continuously focused on assessing as well as evaluating, and there is a little bit of a difference to me. And assessing has to do with not only on the field, but how it's all coming together. That's an important thing.
Thomas, in the draft, do you feel that you can find the kind of talent to beef up the O-line, or will it be more through free agency in the offseason?
That's a good question. I mean, it's both. I mean, honestly, every year we say that, right, Mike? We look at what's out there potentially talent-wise, and we compare and we see where the values may be. That's going to be something we look at. Interestingly enough, I think there are strengths and areas that we may be looking at both in free agency and in the draft, and that's not playing the fence there. It's just more we need to be very mindful of what we can take as far as the money that we have and potentially have, because we have, you know, we have a legit pay, what am I trying to say? We have a legit payroll here, of course, and we have to continue to look at that. And we're gonna have to make decisions on that as well, pertaining to how we approach free agency, if we can afford certain people, and where we think the value is gonna be at the youth side of things.